Hello, everyone. My name's Josh. I work at Vernier Science Education. I'll be moderating this little session of Meet the Friends of Scratch. Um, Let me give you just a brief overview. You might not be familiar with Vernier. We are a science education company. We're within the Scratch world. We're not as well known as, say, Makey Makey or Microbit. We make a variety of digital probes and sensors that science teachers use in their classroom to teach science, to do lab activities, investigate different phenomenon, and then learn the science behind those. We are involved with Scratch because one of our probes, this is a digital force sensor, an accelerometer, you can use in Scratch 3. It has a 3-axis accelerometer and gyro in there. There's like a force sensor here to measure pushes and pulls. And you can use that in Scratch. It's really kind of cool. I'm going to show you some things that you can do with it today. I'm also curious to hear what you're excited about. We're about halfway through the conference today, and I'm curious to know, like, what do you think about what you're going to moving forward, or what are you going to take away from this conference and use with your own students? So, like I mentioned, this force sensor can be used in Scratch. I'm going to show you how that's done, and I'm going to show you a few examples of where, or like how you might use it, and then we can go from there. I'm going to share my screen here and go to the Scratch editor. While I get set up here, if you'd like to jump in to the chat and just tell us where you're from. I'm always curious. I love that the Scratch conference is worldwide. I'm actually just outside of Portland, Oregon, so on the West Coast. It was kind of an early morning for me, but I bet for some of you, the conference began in the afternoon a little, or maybe after dinner even. All right, Brazil, very cool. I guess you're probably maybe you're on East Coast time with like the MIT folks and the Scratch team. So I'm here in the Scratch editor, and maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. You'll find all of the extensions, like if you're going to use Makey Makey or Microbit and that sort of thing, down all the kind of the blocks particular to those particular devices, you find them in the extensions menu, which is down in this lower left corner here. I'm going to click there, and you'll see that there's a number of them here. Oh, Daniela, you're from West Lynn. We're like neighbors here. I'm just up the road in Beaverton. I'm going to go and I'm going to choose. So you can see the Lego robots here. Here we are, the Go Direct force and acceleration sensor. When I click on this, it's going to add a new set of blocks to my palette, and I'm also going to be able to connect to my force sensor. So I'm going to turn this guy on. I can see that it's listed here. I'm just connecting via Bluetooth. With most of the devices on that list there, Microbit and stuff, you need to have Scratch Link installed on your device running as well. When I connect to this, I'm going to now go to my editor, and I have a variety of blocks here. As I mentioned before, there's like an accelerometer in here, gyro, and then there's like this is like a force sensor, so you can push and pull on the little hook here on the end, or you can replace that with a little rubber bumper. And the kinds of things that you get out of here, you can get things like, when this is shaken. I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to connect. I'm going to have my Scratch Cat just kind of jump around when I shake this. So if I shake this, my Scratch Cat moves. And I can do this all sorts of ways. If it detects when it's shaken, or like when it's turned face up. So there's a face here. That's this. If I turn it face down, nothing. But if I turn it back face up, then he moves around. There's lots of different ways that you can use this. Well, the thing that I like the most about this is Scratch primarily is on the screen, and this can connect your Scratch projects to the real world. So, you might have students put this inside of a stuffed animal and toss it around. You might have students. We've had students that like kind of put this inside of like a book, and you like flip it over to kind of advance your project. We've had students that would use this as like a steering wheel to drive, to guide a sprite. There are lots of different ways to do it. I'm going to show you just a couple of quick little examples here, ranging from very simple to much more complicated. I'm going to disconnect from this project, and I'm going to go. This is one of the sample projects that the Scratch team put together. We just have a little rocket ship here and a bubble, and the rocket ship is guided by the force and acceleration sensor. So you can see that it turns based off of the spin speed. That's what we call the gyro, how much it's rotated. And then it moves based on how hard you kind of push on the force sensor there. I'm going to connect to this, and then I can run it. So I'm going to hit go here, and you can see that as I turn my force sensor, it turns my rocket ship. And if I push, I can go. If I push on the force sensor, and then it really moves, you go backwards too. It's pretty easy to do, and it's kind of pretty intuitive as well. You can see that the blocks make it really easy to access. The most time when I tell people that there's a 3-axis gyroscope in here, they're kind of looking at me like, whoa, what are we talking about here? We've translated all that data that comes from the gyro into a couple of simple blocks here, like spin speed. Let's go to another one. This is one that I was a high school physics teacher for 10 years before coming to Vernier. And my primary job right now is I teach other science teachers about hands-on science education. And one of the things that I would do as a science teacher, as a physics teacher, is we'd talk about free fall, dropping things, launching things, projectiles and stuff like that. And one of the things that the force sensor can do in Scratch is it can detect when it's in free fall. It's watching the accelerometers, and it can detect when it's in free fall. And it's pretty easy to make a free fall like timer. This will time. It starts the clock when it starts falling. It goes into free fall and then stops it when it doesn't. So I'm gonna, rather than just toss this as it is right now, I'm gonna put it inside. I have this Nerf football here that I put a big hole in so that I could stick my force sensor in here. And that way, if I drop it, I don't bang up anything. So I'm going to throw this, and you can see that as I throw it, Perry does his changes the amount of time that it's in the air. This is kind of cool because you can build all sorts of games around this. You put your force sensor in there, and you can have kids tossing these things back and forth. It's fun. Okay, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to disconnect from this guy. This is kind of much more complicated end of the Scratch spectrum. This is a little slingshot tower game, and I'm going to connect. And this is a game where you launch a projectile at these blocks here, but now the angle at which it runs, the angle at which it launches depends on the angle that I hold the force sensor at. So if I hold it up at an angle, and then how hard it goes, how fast it's launched depends on how hard I pull on it. Often when we demo this game, we'll have like a rubber band on the end or something like that, so students can really pull it, and it feels like a slingshot. This is pretty cool. The game itself is kind of complicated, but it's pretty neat to be able to use this as like almost like a real device. This is similar to how smartphone games work, where they're tilting and that sort of thing. This is operates on a similar principle, but it's much easier for students to use than those straight accelerometers. I'm going to just go to a couple of different resources here. Allison, you're asking about if there are other options using Scratch. There are lots of things you can do with Scratch without the device, without a microbit or without a makey. and that's how most people use it. If you do have these, and we do sell in Brazil, this just adds an extra layer to it. I'm going to put some resources in the chat here. This is kind of our website where you can find what we put together. If you go to the Scratch, the extension page, it talks a little bit about using how to use Scratch Link. There's a page like this for making, and one for microbit, as well as some starter projects like that underwater rocket one. This is another great place to find out some information. And then the Scratch team. So Marin with the Scratch Foundation, she's put together some really great things. She put together a lesson plan about the using physical computing using this force and acceleration sensor. I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. It's really a great way to get started. And then she also put together some real handy coding cards that students can use, that you could print out for your students to use as well, and with these sorts of things. I'm really excited about it. I love using Scratch as a parent, not just a teacher, but a parent. I do a lot. My kids use Scratch a lot. One of my student that just went into my kid that just went into 6th grade, he built a platformer this summer. Was real excited to show it to me. I'm excited that you can use the force and acceleration sensor with it. If you have questions about this, I'm happy to answer them. You can also email me. Just I'm Ence at Vernier.com. You can find me through the session there. I'm curious. We've got just a few minutes left here. Thinking about the conference that we've had, that you've now been over halfway through this conference. Are there any particular projects or things you are brainstorming, think about you want to do with your students, things that you look forward to with using Scratch in your classrooms or with your students? I think I pressed the wrong button there. Here we go. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Oh yeah, Rick Bush has this really great mandala activity, and it works really well with the force and acceleration sensor. You can spin your mandala using the force and acceleration sensor. It's really great. There's one of the things I really love. So Allison, one of the things I love about Scratch, and the things that when I was teaching physics, we would use Python to do the same sorts of things. Is we could predict motion using a real iterative approach, using Scratch or Python, that sort of thing. And it's really cool to see kids learn about they learn the mathematical techniques for deriving creating a derivative and stuff, but doing it numerically and within code is it really eye-opening, and it really reinforces what they learn in their math classes. And it's a great, wonderful way to connect science and technology and math all together. It really is. All right. Well, thank you again. I know we're on to our next sessions here in just a minute, I believe.